So Sarah turned up, and there's just these two dinosaurs, these animatronic dinosaurs, that she has to explain that the booking isn't in her name, it's in my name, and he's coming in 3 hours.
Wow.
Hello and welcome to the Abroad in Japan podcast. Probably the best way of learning about life in Japan without actually being in Japan. I'm your host, Chris Broad, and we're joined as always by England's top Japan enthusiast, Mr. Pete Dawson himself. Pete, how you doing? How's the jet lag?
I'm good.
You over it yet?
No, because we were recording two shows together. As the people on YouTube have noticed that I was wearing the same clothes for like 4 episodes. It's because we recorded 4 episodes. And yes, this used to be Jackmate's studio. What other questions have you got for me?
Jackmate, the super duper big podcast.
Is that Jackmate's old studio? No, it's Stack Studio. All right,
Pete.
I put this shit together.
Pete used to own Jackmate.
I built this shit,
And
yeah?
Jackmate is upstairs now, another
He's
room.
upstairs now. He's got a bigger room.
He doesn't need you anymore.
Yeah, it looks good. It's an upgrade. Shut up. Yes, I'm going to be wearing the same clothes for the next 2 episodes. So,
Yes,
yeah.
given the fact Pete and I are together for a biannual event, we do bash out several podcast episodes back to back. But last episode, Pete regaled his stories, experiences of being back in Japan for the first time in 3.5 years, right?
After a couple of Monster Energy drinks.
And he drank.
I did it quick as well.
He drank all the caffeine and taurine he could get his little hands on. It's starting to wear off now, so you'll sort of see throughout this episode, he'll just sort of die.
Yeah. My fingernails will fall off. I'll start crying. I wet myself. Yeah, all that.
You do that normally, Pete.
Yeah.
But you left us with a bit of a cliffhanger on the last episode. The cliffhanger of you said you lost all your stuff in Japan on numerous occasions, which I've done. When I did Journey Across Japan, I lost about 4 jumpers and 5 pairs of socks.
But presumably,
and my sense of self-worth.
Presumably, you didn't go and get them back.
Well, effort, isn't it?
It is effort.
46 days on the road. I stayed in 46 hotels and left a snail trail of litter.
Of jumpers.
The Pied Piper
of clothing. By the end, you were as nude as the day you were born.
It was bad. It was, who's the guy that leaves the candy? Who's the guy that leaves the candy?
The candy man.
Gingerbread bastard.
The gingerbread bastard. Barry Gingerbread Bastard. Yeah,
it was like that with clothes.
Yeah,
what the fuck did you lose in Japan?
I lost everything. We went, as discussed last time, with a 210-litre haversack with all of our items. And I said, look, this is going to be hot. It's going to be humid. You ain't going to be wanting to carry a load of stuff. So I will take that like a hero in a half shell. I put all of the things in my half shell. And along the way, we did lose quite a lot of stuff. The first was a Kindle, a diary, and a book.
Wait, what? You lost a Kindle?
That wasn't
That's
me.
That's actually worth something.
It wasn't actually me. It was my partner, Sarah. She was the one who opened the losing lost and found smorgasbord, and we feasted upon it.
How did this happen?
So she left it on the Shinkansen. We were feeling very guilty about leaning back on our seats because people were using their laptops.
Right.
So I was like, right, let's move forward a row, and then we can absolutely go to town. Because if you've never been on a bullet train before, those seats go right back, like further back than you have any right to ever be.
But did you go on green class?
Didn't go on green class. Didn't go on grand class because that was.
Oh.
I mean, why they have to reserve that for the Tokyo Sendai route, I will never know.
Oh right,
but
it's only from Tokyo to Hokkaido, that route, isn't it?
Absolutely bizarre. So we did that, and we left them on the train, and I said, look, Sarah, don't worry about it. I promise you will get them back. And she was like, don't believe you. And I was like, I promise you. Repeated it about 5 or 6 times. She still didn't believe me. But a few days later, we went to where did we go? Osaka train station, and we found the lost and found. And I said, have you got these things? And they went, yes, we have. And all of the things were returned.
And Kindle, what else?
Kindle, diary, book. Another book that we didn't realise that she lost.
Half melted coolish.
Yeah, if
it's filthy coolish
covered in jam, wasps all over it. So that was ding 1-0 to the Japanese Shinkansen lost and property.
That's a happy ending.
Which is good. And then I on the way from on the way from Osaka to Fukuoka, we went to we were on the way to Fukuoka on the Shinkansen, 2.5, nearly 3 hours train journey, and I realised oh, I've got my bag with me. I had my big bag.
Wait, what?
But I didn't my little bag. I've got a
Oh,
little
my
kind
God.
of like little bag, little guy's bag,
Little green
with
bag.
wallet and my spectacles on it, which is good,
Oh,
and
shit.
all the stuff I needed basically. And I went, oh no! So I hopped off at whatever blooming places between Hiroshima and Fukuoka,
Kitakyushu.
before Kitakyushu. Jumped off. Went the other way, and Sarah again. She doesn't know Japan. She actually got when she was she used to be a model, and when she was 22, I think she yeah, that's right. I got with a model. Yeah, this face. Yeah, it's sometimes I'm nice.
That's
doing all right.
When you own a podcast
5'8",
empire,
yeah?
When you open
Up yours.
when you
Everyone
own
on
a
YouTube.
podcast empire, anything's possible.
But she, I'm messing around. But she had an offer to go to Osaka to model. As a lot of people do, it's a really easy way. Back in the late 90s, it was a really easy way to fill out your portfolio effectively. And at the last minute, she just sacked it off because she was just a bit scared. I think
That'd have been epic.
very young. It would have been epic. She would have made a lot of money. But 20 years later, we spend an ungodly amount of money and can go with a 5'8" idiot. So anyway, I leave my bag, and so Sarah's like not really that. She's not nervous, but she's not that confident about getting around, as you wouldn't, because you don't have words like chigaimas and mardo
and got to saw some of this stuff.
sumayoji. You're really useful words when you're traveling around. And so I just said, look, go to Fukuoka, get in a taxi, go to the hotel. While I went to get my bag. I'll be 2.5 hours, right, to get to meet you. Thing is, I'd forgotten that the hotel that we'd booked in
Under your
Fukuoka,
name.
A, under my name, and B, it was that one where in reception, instead of humans, it's 2 dinosaurs.
Oh, for fuck's sake. The
So
Hen
Sarah,
Hotel.
the Hen Hotel in Fukuoka. So Sarah turned up, and it's just these 2 dinosaurs, these animatronic dinosaurs that she has to explain that the booking isn't in her name, it's in my name, and he's coming in 3 hours. And the dinosaurs, the dinosaurs just roared, spoke in Japanese,
God,
and then we finally got in. But it was the worst possible hotel to book at the worst
my
possible
God.
time. But got my bag back.
That robot hotel. I did the first YouTube video on the robot hotel. When it first came out, I was like, I've got to go there. I've got to do this. And I was very kind to them. I was like, I'll film it, and I'll be nice if it's shit, because it just opened. And none of the robots worked.
Really?
It was all they were like, Shoto. Like, I got to the desk and I was like, check in, please, to the robot. And it was like, switching to English. Hello, I'm Ted, or something.
Right.
And it just starts, it's just really weird. Bilingual fucking Velociraptor.
Yeah.
And I was like, my name's Chris. And he was like, no booking. I'm like, yes, there is a fucking booking. You know how far I've come for this. And like all the robots just didn't really work. And did you have the little robot egg concierge in the room?
No.
Because there used to be a little robot egg that would talk to you, and that didn't work either.
No.
And it
maybe they got
controlled
rid
the
of that.
fucking lights.
Well, I chose the dinosaur room, so we got an inflatable dinosaur and some toys for the children we didn't have.
Oh.
So, but we did a lot of like hotels, and that's something I've noticed more. And you used to see in Apple hotels quite a lot. But now most hotels do have an automatic kind of, stick your credit card in, scan your passport automatically kind of English machine
Upper does,
in there. Which, but more like every hotel I think we stayed in had that option. I think, apart from the really fancy ones.
Did you go to the Upper Hotel and see the racist book?
We did stay in that hotel very briefly because, money talks or a lack of finance talks, and it was just easy in Osaka. And I was saying, it's just weird to be asked at the desk, do you want some curry? Like, do you want some of this woman's curry? And I just, no. No. In Osaka as well, where street food becomes almost heavenly. Like, some of the best food you're ever going to eat is in Osaka. And the Apple Hotel lady says, do you want to buy some curry?
She'd said it to you, like...
Yeah, before we checked in, do you want to buy some curry? And I'm like, no.
Upper Hotel, the lobby's quite glamorous. It always smells of this horrible bleachy shit.
Yeah.
And the shacho, the CEO, or the owner, is like a woman, this couple, a very powerful couple. And the shacho, the president's this lady, who's very eccentric. She has like a crazy hat. and her face is all over the curry.
She cooked some mean curry.
And the
apparently.
curry's all over her face. And you go up to the reception desk, and there's just a pile of curry with her face on. It's called, like, literally chateau curry. And I wonder who thinks yes. I know what I want for dinner tonight.
I'm going to prepare this in the hotel kettle.
I want a mediocre curry.
Well, remember when we saw that new story about that man who'd cooked a crab in his kettle?
He was just
in
desperate because the curry was crap.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Would they have a problem if you warmed up your curry sauce in the hotel kettle? I mean, they've supplied you with the curry.
Only one way to find out.
Exactly.
But did they...
Dirty protest in Appa Hotel.
So Appa Hotel, they're the biggest chain in Japan, basically. Yeah. You find them everywhere.
The owner is worth a Google, let's say.
The book, and they had a book,
some astonishing stuff about the Jews.
And, oh God, did he? Well, there's a book in there called, I think, wasn't there? The Real History of Japan or something. And it was translated Japanese English. And it's got a very interesting interpretation of World War II, of most of 20th century history. It's a fascinating read, and it demands to be read, but not for educational purposes.
Big support of Shinzo Abe, does it recall?
Yeah, amongst other things. But the curry...
the curry is beyond
the
curry.
Sit in your tiny room with your crappy Upper Hotel pillow.
Look, if you're on a limited budget, you don't have that many options in certain places, and
they get the job done.
They get the job done, and for 1,000 yen, you get an extra hour in bed if you want. You get a late checkout.
So swings and roundabouts, Upper hotels everywhere. I personally hate them, and I don't stay in them. Not anymore. Although on journey across Japan, I think 9 times out of 10 it was an Upper hotel, and it saved us from going bankrupt. So again, great. And I think by the end of the trip, I'd finished reading the racist book. So I read the whole thing.
And it gave you the inspiration you needed to write your own little sordid book, your sordid tome.
Got to see World War II for what it really was. We got a story this week from... a nameless
individual.
Actually, it's Mike.
It's Mike. Right. Hello, Mike.
Dear bestseller Chris and best smeller Pete.
Yes.
My name's Mike, and I write with a story where the perilous pitfalls of poor pronunciation plopped shame all over my person. My wife and I had the pleasure of visiting Japan for 3 weeks back in 2012 for our honeymoon. We had both taken some evening classes in Japanese for a year, and we felt that we'd mastered enough of the basics to be able to get by. The words I personally struggled with were the ones that are essentially Japan-ified English. There seemed no other way to pronounce these words except putting on a faintly racist Japanese accent.
Milk is one
Miruku.
That is quite hard to get across without doing the voice.
I think DVD player is the worst.
DVD Pereira.
It's DVD player.
Pereira.
DVD. It's kind of like a VB. DVD player.
It's difficult.
DVD player. But it does sound racist. I remember that when I was first learning Japanese, I was doing the guide Igor, foreign borrowed words like that. You do feel like this just sounds a bit racist.
Yeah, but when you
like all these words, right? It's just a bit.
Well, when we were singing one of the songs in the karaoke place, the Japanese wrestler Yuki Ueno, who spoke very little English, I was like looking at the katakana that he was following, and you hear like Japanese singers having very Japanese accented singing voices. That's why, because they're reading approximations of what the words are. Really, I mean, right. We're lucky going the other direction that we can kind of pretty much approximate from what we've got, but their katakana is like it's very static and difficult to say certain English words. British words.
The words are static.
British words, isn't it? Roasted.
Oh God. Mike continues. One of the key phrases I'd been using was, "Excuse me, where's the toilet?" Sumimasen, toire doko desu ka? And I had read that the Japanese word for toilet was toire. But no matter how much I switched up my linguistic emphasis, Japanese employees would give me a baffled look until I switched to English. For the life of me, I couldn't work out where I was going wrong. It was a full 2 weeks into the trip before my mistaken pronunciation became apparent. I went into a cafe and once again tried to ask for the closest toilet in my best Japanese. The coldest toilet. The woman behind the counter grinned at me in a somewhat unsettling way.
Right.
She replied in English and asked me why I wanted to know where the closest toilet was. And then she took the strange query one step further. The gleeful-looking middle-aged woman suddenly leaned forward and asked, "Is it because you want to... ... question mark, before, to my astonishment, screwing up her face, making fists with her hands, and mimicking a grunted crouch, complete with repeated squats. Oh my God, what is this?
She leaned over and said, "You need a poo," and
Basically,
then mimed doing a poo.
Oh my! The giggling woman must have noticed my confused expression as she clarified to me what I'd actually said. It turned out that it wasn't the word toilet that was the problem. The phrase I'd been using for weeks was "Simasen, chugoku ni toire wa doko desu ka?" Roughly translated to "Excuse me, where is the Chinese toilet?"
Yes.
Chugoku ni toire.
What does that look like?
Oh no! The lady had assumed I meant I specifically wanted to use a squat toilet.
Right.
Thus, over the top pantomime of straining and acting.
Yeah.
The word I had in fact been meaning to use instead of chugoku was chikakuni, meaning to be the closest.
Right.
That is a pretty big cock
I need
up.
just kicking a door down. I need the closest Chinese toilet. Stat.
Chugoku ni toilet. Chikakuni.
Good for digestion.
There you go. My face burned, and I truly hope I hadn't been inadvertently upsetting half of Japan in my mangling of the language. I did, however, learn a valuable lesson to pay closer attention to the pronunciation of my phrasing. All the best, guys. Thanks for everything. And my God. But like, even if you know the words, sometimes that's not how people would say. Like, we ate an astonishing amount of sushi on like our 4th day, and it was delicious, and it was about 300 quid. Did Sarah enjoy the sushi? Sarah's a big fan of sashimi. Nice.
The problem with like our idea of sushi and the Japanese idea, there's some stuff where you're like, that's like a rock hard marble version of a scallop, and it'll be like, I don't know what that is, and again, for someone who finds the more crazy seafood quite difficult, and I do as well, but I'm so racked by self-consciousness that I'll just get it down me somehow. Yeah, she was great. I'm not reviewing my partner how good she was, but she's usually not great. Yeah, she was fine with it, and we had like an amazing. It was actually at the base of the Surin hotel. Was one of the best sushi places I've ever been to. It was like proper, like it was like the one you took me to in Hakata.
I took you somewhere nice.
You did take me to somewhere nice. In
Hakata. I've never been to Hakata with you. What are you on about?
Sakata, where have you been? Sakata.
Okay.
All right, Sakata, not Hakata. Sakata. And your friend took us, and
yes.
he an entrepreneur or something. But anyway,
Yuki the entrepreneur.
Yeah. So we
and you were mortified, if I recall, because you watched the chef with his hands just, mold the rice and put the fish on. You were like, oh, look at that.
No, I wasn't saying it like that, was I? But exactly, yeah. But you get used to it, don't you? And then you can be the big man when they're doing that to you later on. But they were bashing stuff together, and at the end we were so full, and I wanted to say I've eaten too much, but what I said was, is it Oki Sugiru? Suguri?
Oki Sugiru? Too big?
Too big.
Oh.
And he went, huh? As if I'd insulted
God.
the food rather than
it was
my
too
fault.
big.
Yeah, exactly. So like over here, I'd be like, oh, too much food. That's fine, I think. But over there, I think if you go, oh, too much food, it's their fault, innit?
You want onaka ippai.
I was basically just going.
Onaka means stomach. Ippai means too much.
Futori. And just
Futori. Onaka ippai.
Oh, what? Onaki? Onaka.
It means like stomach,
Ippai.
right? Onaka. Ippai.
Ippai.
Onaka ippai.
Ippai.
Stomach's too full.
Well, you're 2 weeks too fucking late, aren't you, mate?
Did you? I taught you one useful phrase before you went. I bet you didn't bloody use it.
What?
And you got to source some of this.
Used it loads of times, thank you.
You used it?
Yeah.
Did you use it after your $1 billion sushi dinner?
I also used shitsurishima quite a lot.
Shitsurishima?
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me.
Before
like when you're going
do my mad karate kicks.
I remember that, guys. Got to some leshta.
Yeah.
It's not arigato gozaimasu. When you finish your meal, got to some leshta. It was a feast.
There was a man in a slightly crap izakaya that was just sat by himself drinking like pretty 8% highballs like at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and he was just sat there going just burping.
That's
absolutely burping his head off.
It's weird how burping is like kind of not so bad in Japan. Or they just don't mind doing it in public as much there. No. With the I guess it goes hand in hand with the slurping with noodles. But there you go. We got a news story though.
Got a news story
about Mount Fuji. which
Mount Fuji. I'm familiar with it because I have been to Japan.
And did you see it from your
No, couldn't see it at
trip?
any point. Didn't see it at any point, not even from the train. Rubbish. Absolute rubbish.
Not even from Tokyo?
No.
Not even from the plane?
Nope.
Not even from the boat?
Didn't even look at the plane. What boat did I take?
don't know.
What?
Oh, that's a shame.
No.
You got to see Fuji once.
Well, I've seen it before from the train.
You got to climb it as well. But what's going on with Mount Fuji, Pete? Why is Mount Fuji broken?
Well, we're not allowed to to climb it anymore, Chris, as made very clear by the Fuji Tourist Board are fuming. They are. It's obviously
Natsuki's been up there with cigarettes,
dropping tab ends.
Why is there just 100 packs of Marlboro cigarettes all over the mountain?
Well, I mean, more than 2.3 million people visited in 2012. A number I think seems quite big, but I imagine a mountain as popular as Fuji could probably handle it. And then by 2019, that number had almost doubled to over 5 million. And there's been a 17% increase this year. 65,000 hikers have reached the summit this July.
I was one of them.
You were one of them. You were part of the problem. And they have basically a situation where there's just too many people. Pressure on limited toilet facilities, part of the problem. Creating litter, part of the problem. And increasing the potential for accidents. Seasoned climbers are finding their route up the higher stages of the mountain blocked by large groups of absolute amateurs, absolute day climbers, including those who have underestimated the scale of the physical challenge. And a Yamanashi prefectural government official, an expert on Mount Fuji, has said that over-tourism is killing this goddamn mountain. And he's sceptical of the potential economic benefits of encouraging more visitors. People on tour buses climb the mountain, buy an ice cream on the way down, and get straight back on the bus. That's it. What do you want from us?
I mean, I don't really
know. What do you want?
I don't know what they want.
Yeah.
People on tour buses climb the mountain, buy an ice cream on the way down, get back on the bus.
Well,
but how can you add economic benefit
put
to
the
Mount
prices
Fuji?
up on the ice cream then?
Well, yeah, I mean, like, how can you add economic benefit to Mount Fuji?
Ooh.
The restaurant's at the base of it. There's a curry in the shape of Mount Fuji.
Right.
Rice.
Let me guess. Rice. Let me guess. Rice is involved.
Everyone who climbs the mountain must try the Mount Fuji curry fucking rice.
It tastes just like it's the same as a fucking Gundam cafe.
There's no doubt.
The shape of a Gundam. Well done.
There's no doubt Fuji is overcrowded. Luckily, we went up the secret back route round the back of Mount Fuji.
Right.
And
you
that was
went
still
up Mount
kind
Fuji's
of busy.
bum. Fuji-san's bum.
We went up the quiet Fuji no Miru, and it was great. Yeah, it was still crowded at the top. There was still queuing. I find this like this phrase that people get to the highest stages of the mountain are blocked by large groups of inexperienced visitors who have underestimated the scale of the physical challenge.
Yeah.
When I was up there, I didn't see anything like that. What does that even look like? Just someone blocking,
just people
standing in the path, going
around, wearing clogs in your cars, just drunk on highballs.
It's just like. The phrasing of that makes it seem like there's just someone sitting there blocking the path, like putting a sandwich together.
The thing is, I think, as you know, certainly from my perspective, from Western eyes, I always sort of read these stories and I sort of go, "Oh, this is so rude to the people who come to." But then most of the tourists will be Japanese because there's something you do in it. So, like, I always sort of think with stuff like that, like most of the people will actually be Japanese. So, what do you want to do? It's a really epic climb. People seem to enjoy doing it. Maybe you should ticket it. That's the question. Should it be ticketed?
I think.
Would you have a little vending machine going? You have access to have one ice cream at station 3 on Mount Fuji.
I actually think that's not a bad idea. Everyone who climbs Mount Fuji pay like 1,000 yen.
Right.
It's not that much. If you're going to do it one time in your life,
do
it's
it
not
quicker.
that much.
Get a lift.
And
Put
if
a
you've
lift
got
in.
5 million times 1,000 yen.
Escalator.
Let's not even calculate what that is. We're not smart enough for that.
Yeah.
But how much is that?
What? How much is what?
5 million people times 1,000 yen.
1,005 million. I don't. After the millions, after the billions and the trillions.
All we know
How many is
is
a billion?
it's at least going to be $50 million.
Loads of money.
Probably more than that. But that's a great way to make some money and cover the costs. Though I didn't see that much litter up there during my climb. We did go up the quieter route, and this is the annoying thing, there's no rubbish bins.
Yeah.
So whatever you take up there food-wise, you have to carry it back down yourself, right? Which, you do it with any mountain climb, but that's something to factor in.
That's like bloody Shibuya, that'll be fair.
We should have got like a hot air balloon, just tied it to it, and just gone. There you go. Take the rubbish.
Or
and
just set fire to it.
Just set a fire.
There's chimneys all over Tokyo.
It's a shame
burning
Mount Fuji's crater's still not in operation. You just chuck it in the lava. But of course,
Yes, exactly.
if everybody chucked their rubbish in the crater Mount Fuji, I fear for Mount Fuji.
Might do a little burp.
But like, yeah, it's a problem. I think they should ticket it. It's as simple as that. But there's not much else.
It's not as simple as that, though, is it, Chris?
It is.
You said it's as simple as that.
Simple. Ticket.
Oh, you're getting the tickets up there. What if you lose your ticket? That's more litter, innit? Think on.
No, but there's 4 routes up Mount Fuji. Have a gate. Have somebody at the gate. They're like, you want to go up the Fuji?
Get your Suica or your Passmo out.
You want to go up Fuji? You
that on.
got to pay the ticket, and then you pay the money, and you
Pay
go.
the chicken.
Put the what?
Pay the chicken, man.
Put the chicken up.
Pay the chicken, man.
That's the best idea. That's the best idea.
Yeah.
But
Have a random maniac who's up there.
Well,
just to discourage.
was up there.
Well,
so.
yeah, exactly. Just give Natsuki a pellet gun, and he can just take him any old lady he fancies.
Need monkey busters.
Yeah, and people would think twice about going up there. And people will sell Natsuki spray to spray his face.
When we went up there, Natsuki had he printed out this really weird merch. It's like a Natsuki 3D sticker, and it's of him holding like a rifle.
Yes,
and it's from. Do you know the
he
start?
joined the Moonies.
Do you know the start of the Last Journey Across Japan? He shoots Ryotaro.
Yeah,
it's just
he really got into that.
Screenshot that.
Yeah,
carved it into this 3D sticker.
Yeah.
And he's trying to sell that up Mount Fuji.
I can't wait till you're in court defending him. I cannot wait. He's gone on his spree because he liked the feel of cold metal in his hands. Oh, God.
He did like that. But there you go, Mount Fuji. It's a shame, but I don't see it getting better. I think they will instigate tickets. And also, one thing I don't think this article mentions is they are looking at having a vehicle that takes people up Mount Fuji.
Oh, right,
I don't know if it's going to be a cable car or a monorail or something on a rail. So you can go from 5th station to the summit. Right. Which would take some of the magic out of climbing.
Get that one that we've got over the Thames to the O2 that nobody ever uses.
It's awful.
Awful.
Well, it's like Mount Snowdon in Wales, right? The tallest mountain in Wales, Mount Snowdon. I remember I climbed it as a kid, painstakingly for 3 hours. I got to the top. There was a hut and a fucking tram turned up. Right. And loads of tourists got off are there any burgers around here? I'm famished from this train. Right. This tram. And I'm like, you bastards, do you know what I've been through to get to the top of this? And that's what Mount Fuji be like. You'll climb for 18 hours, get the top. And so I'm like, where are the hamburgers? I just got off the tram. Where are the food?
The tram to Mount Fuji.
Where's the hamburgers, dude? The fucking tram took 25 minutes. So, it'll be like that one day. Yeah. But I'd say if you want to climb Mount Fuji, do it soon. Before they close it, ticket it, or ruin it with a tram. We're back in just a moment, guys, with your stories, comments, and questions in the fax machine.
Wow.
We're back with the fax machine. What do we got from our listeners this week, Mr. Donaldson?
Oh, in the world's hottest abroad in Japan studio, ahoy, Crispy Chris and Petite Pete. I write to you aboard the NZ99 bound for Narita. Is that a Nozomi train? I believe that's not covered by the JR Pass, which is very confusing.
Probably the Narita Express, isn't it? I'm not going to pretend to know. I'm not a trains man.
Oh, yeah, probably, isn't it? My wife and I have had a whirlwind 18 days planned ahead, including Fujisan, Kyoto, and the Kita Alps. Where are the Kita Alps, Chris?
The North Japanese Alps?
The North Japanese Alps. Firstly, in a previous episode, you composed a list of top touristy things to do, and the number one sounded something like bar alcoholic.
That's Pete Donaldson.
That's me. What is this mysterious place which eludes Google searches? Could you please elaborate? That was Bar Rockaholic in Shibuya, which is my favourite bar. And we were on our way back to our hotel on the last day, and I insisted that we sat and had a beer in Bar Rockaholic.
Were you an alcoholic in Bar Rockaholic?
Well, we did the 3 things that we meant to do through the whole thing. We went to Bar Rockaholic and had 1 beer. It's like 4 in the afternoon, where it's just me and the barman and some terrible live Blink-182 performances. And then we had a game of darts in one of the dart up places, because those dart machines are great. We've recommended them before on the podcast, but to those of you new to the podcast, maybe on YouTube, go and play darts in Japan. If you are British, you may have played like one of those fancy ones in London where, they film the darts with a, Xbox Connect machine. But yeah, check them out. They are so much fun. And they count all the things for you and tell you where to throw the darts. Brilliant. And we also, can't remember. Oh yeah, we got our picture taken in one of those little, is it Pukiriki? One of those goddamn machines.
Purikura.
Purikura?
I always forget. Purikura.
One of those machines. And it was... The problem with those machines is they're always on floors where men aren't allowed in.
Oh,
for
really?
obvious reasons.
Oh, right, yeah.
But I had my
It's mostly like 14-year-olds, Japanese schoolgirls that use purikura.
Yes, yeah.
And
They
Pete
basically and me. You basically go into a machine. They take your picture a few times, and then you draw on it, and they make your eyes big.
God,
and
I hate it.
And they put makeup on you, and it's funny. And we did that, and so we did those 3 things on the last day. So we like just absolutely packed it in. Absolutely packed it. Went to Shinjuku, Gyuan.
And you didn't even finish the question.
Sorry, yeah.
He's
sorry.
so excited
Secondly,
about taking photos and getting drunk.
Secondly, we have planned a trek from Marauder. No, Marauder. Yeah, Marauder to Shin Hotaka Onsen during our second week. However, I hear there is a chronic water shortage due to lack of snow, which is concerning. Do you have any intel on the situation? Shall I hire a camel as a precaution? Congratulations on the book release / success. Chris, very much an afterthought. On that message, I feel. Ted Bradley from Christchurch in New Zealand.
I'm not the most well equipped to discuss the lack of snow on the Japanese Alps.
Will it return for January for the snow festival in Sapporo?
We'll wait and see.
Did we have it in January? Was it the first year back? The snow festival with all. I don't think it was. I think it was cancelled again. Wasn't
it?
it
was there.
Was it?
Yeah.
All right,
it was there.
Fine.
It was there. Apparently, it was rubbish there. There was no food stalls.
No food stalls.
Yeah,
what do you mean?
Still, like this year, they had the festival.
Right.
It was like COVID light.
COVID light.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
We got one here from Mike from Berlin. It says, "Dear Chris and Pete, I really enjoy reading the book. From living vicariously through you as you experience discovering life in a completely different culture to discovering new sides of stories. Thank you very much." Cheers, Mike. There are a few stories I'd love to know more about, but the one about moving to Sendai on what feels like a few conversations with Ryotaro really caught my attention. Chapter 21. While incredibly risky, it also seemed like one of those decisions that led you to where you are today. So my question is, did you really bet it all on Ryotaro not leaving you hanging there? Looking forward to the sequel with the wonderful Mr. Donaldson. The wonderful Mr. Donaldson in every other chapter. All the best, Mike from Berlin. That's true. You're not in the book, are you?
No. I mean, I've added myself in. I've basically written a little footnote on every page. Like, what would Peter be doing if he was here?
Pete went through his book, crossed out the word Ryotaro, and just wrote Pete Donaldson.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
In the book, there's a scene where I'm like, I moved to Sendai and everything's just shit, and I lived in like a hotel for a month. It was pretty depressing.
Yeah.
Because Ryotaro was like, maybe we can work together, and he like dangled the carrot of hope.
Yeah.
And then he sort of fucked off for like a month, and then he didn't.
Yes.
And then I was sitting in a room depressed, and the receptionist at the hotel was like, "Oh, have you tried the McDonald's chocolate fries? The Choco fries?"
Right.
I was like, "Sure, I'll do that. That'll be my video then."
Yeah.
Got these fucking box of McDonald's fries with a little pot of chocolate sauce.
Yeah.
Film me pouring it on, eating it. It went like mega viral.
Yeah.
And then I was in like news and stuff. What a weird life. And then Ryotaro was like, "Wow, I've noticed you again now because you've had a viral hit. I'll work with you."
All right.
And,
Okay,
but like
yeah.
up until that
all
point,
it took
though,
was you eating some McDonald's.
it took that viral hit to win over Ryotaro.
Is that why you keep doing it? Eating McDonald's.
That's what I keep doing.
Yeah.
Maybe
The
he'll
secret
still
to
love
my
me.
success.
Will he love me still?
Congealed fats.
But no, I did. Yeah, I did put a lot in the Ryotaro basket. My eggs in the Ryotaro basket. And but I thought, even if the McDonald's thing hadn't happened, I think he would have worked with me still, but it would have taken a bit longer,
Right.
and he would have been a bit more crap. But I had a few backup plans. I could have,
Killing
worked.
Spree?
I murdered everyone Sendai, or I was going to work with Natsuki,
Right.
and clean his
Less
house
lucrative.
out.
Less
Clean his-
lucrative. Yeah.
Natsuki wanted to start a fish and chip shop in Sakuta.
Did he? Good.
Glad that didn't happen.
Right.
Salmonella.
You've got a hair in the food, Natsuki. That's not good.
Why is there cigarette
I don't-
ash in the cod?
Natsuki notably doesn't like fish.
He doesn't like
Who
fish,
trusts
does he?
this man?
There were many flaws with the plan,
Right,
and that's
okay.
why it never happened, has continued to not happen
Right.
to this day. Last of all, Amanda says, "Hello, Chris and Pete. I recently saw Takeshi's Castle was rebooted. I wondered if you'd ever considered going on the show. If not, how are you planning to convince Chris to go on, Pete? I'm a new listener, but I have a feeling you'd be excellent at peer pressure. Thanks for keeping me ticking away the moments that make up a dull work day. All the best, Amanda."
I'd say, Chris, you aren't using. Yeah, I just think that Japanese surgery is second to none, and you could have your knees rebuilt at any moment. So if you're not, you have to pay for health insurance in Japan for hospitals and stuff. So I think you should make the most of it. In the same way that when I was in Japan, I had my motor scooter stolen from outside my house. And I'm going to have to
in the UK?
In the UK, yeah.
Oh,
came home to the terrible news that my 125cc wangy scooter had been stolen.
Where was it? What was it, just in the road?
It's just gone.
Oh,
Romeo gone.
Sake,
So
UK.
yeah.
Why is the UK
Fuck's sake.
stupid?
Yeah.
Theft.
I've got more things going missing story for the next podcast, Chris. Let's get out of here.
Well, stick around, guys, for the next episode. We'll be back later in the week to all over again. But for now, no matter where you might be, out in the big wide world, see you in the next few days to hear what else Pete lost in Japan. For now, guys, have yourselves a good one. See you then. Take care.